Cause the Patapsco lies a singing and swinging this town I know. So have another beer, sit down, I'll tell you more. Folks work real hard, but they're doing it right. Cause when the sun goes down, they're gonna party all night. I'm talking about Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore.
It's that time of the year. BeMore opens up and festivals and celebrations abound, and nobody celebrates better than us. So let's get ready to celebrate all the charm that's all over this city, from Juneteenth to Gay Pride to Hun Fest, Hun Ball, and more. So, okay, I got to speak about Hun Fest. I got to tell you that everybody that you see on this screen is going to be there. I am so excited. It is going to be 30 years. That is a 30-year celebration, a 30 years of Baltimore's Best Huns. We have a special guest appearance by our very own wordsmith. Of course, Desmond will be snapping so many pictures. I'm pretty sure his fingers will be stiff at the end of the day. Our dear mayor will be up and down and all about gathering folks, taking shots on the stage, off the stage. Miss Bonnie will be making sure everybody gets on the stage, and I'll be making sure they stay there for a while. So it's going to be a great time. Don't miss it. Also, we'll get to see our very own Miss Naomi. Oh, sad, have to give up her crown as Baltimore's Best Hun. And she has sure done a great job at that. So if that's not reasons for you to come, I don't know what to say. Now, we can also add that if you love hot pink and leopard and beehives and love, well, then you have to come, because you will get 2 days of pure Baltimore fun. I have always said that you could believe in world peace for 2 days on the street, on 36th Street, as everybody greets and meets, thinks you're beautiful, takes your picture, and says, "Hey, hon, love you." So come on, you got to come out and feel the love. You can't describe it. I swear, you just have to feel it. So get out your favorite outfit. In fact, get a couple pieces of it, put it all together, get out all your jewelry, and get out your biggest smile and your highest beehive, and you'll be perfect. You'll be perfectly dressed. You will be right in style. So now moving on, we're going to talk about a little pre-party. And Young Tang, our mayor, is going to tell you about an event that is, like I say, a little pre-party not to be missed before the Hun Fest, and also about some of the other things that he's been up to here in Charm City. So what's happening, Young?
Hi, Judy. Thank you for
Hey.
having me. So what's really funny is that when I was coming up with this month's We Are Baltimore moment, I was thinking about all the events that I'd be going to celebrate this wonderful city, and it so happened that I was at an event with you and Bonnie where I met my next guest, and after talking to my new friend, I got chills that reaffirmed that the whole Baltimore idea really does live up to its name. And that's going to bring us into my next talking point. But I would love to show you my new friend, Mary. All right. So here's my clip.
Hi, I'm Mary, Uncustomary England. Right now, we are at a Hun event where we are collaborating with a documentary crew that came in from LA.
Okay.
And we are helping them make a conservation film to showcase Mr. Trash Wheel, and they're doing a little highlight on the Huns because this is a quintessential part of Baltimore history. Into Bowtie Bob today, and I haven't run into Bowtie Bob in a long time, and it was really nice. I was actually just thinking about him last week, and it was really nice to see him in person. We are Baltimore.
That was a really fun time that I had with Bonnie and Judy with the Huns and my new friend Mary. And the reason why this is Baltimore is she actually has connections as my new friend when I added her on Facebook, realizing that we have a bunch of friends in common. Anyone want to speak about that?
Oh, we have lots of friends in common. Bonnie and I actually met her when she did a scarf drive one winter and collected warm scarves and had everyone put an inspirational message on it. And it was down around City Hall that they were hung on a fence, which was a cool project that we wanted to do again. So, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was called the Scarf Abandonment Project, which
Oh,
caught
it
my
was.
attention. Yes.
Yep.
And we collected, I think, over 200 scarves, hats, and mittens. And every one of us put a little inspiration note in each one. We safety pinned a note to every one of those items. And I went, that was in the morning, and I went back there around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was only one scarf left, and it was a little flimsy feather boa kind. I guess nobody wanted that one, but all the rest of them were taken. It was such a gorgeous picture because it was full of
She's
scarves
done
and hats.
exciting work. So I was scrolling through and I saw another one of our mutual friends.
Yep. So I met Mary
Guilty.
exactly. I'll speak up, Your Honor. So I met Mary when we were both at an art exhibition opening at the American Visionary Art Museum. Right. We're both members of the AVAM. I've been a member off and on for many, many years, and I've been going there for almost since it opened. All night I was getting talked to and meeting a whole bunch of people. I get hollered at a lot walking around, which is awesome. Like hollered at in the best way, right? Folks are always kind of coming up to me, wanting to tell me things, interested in my various style, interested in the fact that I oftentimes walk around with a tentacle in my pocket and want to figure out what that's about. It just, generally finding me approachable. We started vibing really well, and ended up doing like a quick little photo shoot together and then kind of hanging out for the rest of the night, right? We exchanged information and we would started chatting even after we got home. She told me a bit more about what she's about and like bringing joy to people and being really intentional about that. And I was like, I need to be a part of that. So I've helped her out with some of her videos. We shot a kind of promotional video at Graffiti Alley with me, her, and some of her friends. We've done some various activities together, including hanging out and exploring abandoned buildings in the city and stuff too. I brought my daughter, and we kind of went through a bunch of different thingies there too. It's awesome. We've gone to the Hippodrome together. She invites me to some of the free shows she gets invited to too. So it's just a fast friend. In fact, heck, I saw her this past weekend when I saw a lot of you folks over at the Flower Mart at Mount Vernon, the legendary event that happens every year in the city. And she brought a lot of joy, a lot of color to an already joyful, colorful event too. So it's fantastic.
Excellent.
It was so cool.
Miss Bonnie's going to tell you about her Bubble Festival coming up. So, Young, let's talk about your next big affair coming up, though, this pre-party for the Hun Fest.
Yeah. And so this last gathering with all the Huns got me excited for the event that's coming up next month, which is going to be a fundraiser for the Hamden Family Center, and it's going to be Hun Ball. It is actually going to be the kickoff celebration that ushers us into the 30th anniversary weekend. And so this fundraiser will be at the Union Brewery and will feature Betty Helsno and all the
Betty
Huns.
O'Hell
Betty O'Hell, yes. So, and I'm really excited that I'm going to see a lot of my friends come out and support this amazing event for a great cause. And I think, just like this whole Baltimore thing gets much smaller once you actually have a good community of people that support you for the worthwhile things that you're contributing to the community for.
Well, I think your slogan should be, "You're making Baltimore larger." So we'll think on that. Okay, so give us the scoop now. What do we wear and how do we get tickets? The first thing is, what do we wear?
In the spirit of Hun Fest, we want to wear your best Hun outfit. You can dress up as an Elvis, any throwback, 50s and 60s gear. Just something that's really fun and that brings out the spirit of that era. And be the best Hun that you can be. And that's going to be just a great fun night for us to get dressed up in anticipation for the weekend. And you get the tickets from HamdenFamilyCenter.org, and it's available on the website. The tickets are $75, and you can get a table of 8. as a sponsor, and that can get you great seating in a very fun and exciting atmosphere.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, thank you, because you're the one that has brought this, and you're setting up a new annual, I understand. So that can be a regular fundraiser. And Hamden
Yeah.
Family Center is so lucky to have you on the board. So thank you for doing that, because, we can't get enough exciting things in June, right? So we got this too. I love it. Thank you.
Can I just interject here? I know the men may have a problem dressing like a Hun, but it's a lot of fun to do that too. But a lot of the guys wear Hawaiian shirts, in homage to Blue Hawaii, Elvis's movie, anything to do with Elvis. And hopefully you'll have some signature drinks that night, and we can all have a good time.
Right on. That's a good point. That's a good point, Bonnie. But like I'll speak on my own behalf. I have zero problems wearing a dress or a skirt or anything else. Like in my closet, I'm sitting in my bedroom. I have at least 2 dresses in there that I sometimes have in my rotation. So not a problem.
And a
my
garden
outfit's
in
like,
your bedroom.
oh, exactly. In a garden in my bedroom. Got to keep that life going.
But for those that don't, just be colorful. Just be fun, just be colorful, and just have fun. I think that's the biggest theme right there for sure.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
All right. Well, catch your breath now and get ready for Wordsmith, a philanthropist, performing artist, influencer, connector, lover of BeMore. And I know you've been busy all over the city and now beyond up to Philly. And I want to hear about that. We want to hear about all that you're doing, what's happening with Harlem Theater, about meeting the mayor, just a few things like that. So what's up? Word, I'm so happy you're here.
Judy, thank you for that love. Thank you for the introduction. Everybody, honestly, all this information that you threw out there, I needed to know all of it because I had no clue how to dress. Even for Hunfest, I got it and I didn't get it. But it's all about being colorful. That's all I needed to know. That's the baseline right there.
That's
so
the
I can
baseline.
hook up. Yeah, I can hook up something fly because y'all already know I like to wear suits. I like to wear blazers, dinner jackets, all that stuff. So all I know now is I got to take it up a notch.
And
this is a challenge for me.
Shoes.
This is a challenge for me. Yeah, it's a challenge for me. Y'all don't understand. It's a challenge for me. So
I'm
listening
happy
to y'all,
volunteer as your coordinator, wardrobe coordinator. I can help you. So I'm just saying.
Well, hey, I already know. You always come on looking fly, Judy. Matter of fact, all y'all do. You know what I mean? So I can tell y'all are getting close to Hunfest because y'all are ramping it up with the colors already.
You ain't seen nothing yet, hon.
I bet. But at least I know, again, I got to step it up. It's a challenge for me now. So, but a little bit of news. Just talking a little bit about, last time the fundraiser, which I was thankful to have so many of you there. The next step with that was actually getting the mayor to sign the bill to make Harlem Theater a historical landmark. And not too long after we had the fundraiser, we was able to accomplish that. And on April 27th, myself, a lot of the other Harlem Park residents, those who have been fighting for quite a while, going to different hearings, was able to finally get that stamp of approval, one from the Preservation Society, first and foremost. Once they signed up on it, and they were actually at the bill signing as well, the mayor, had us there and officially signed the bill. Now, it takes 30 days for it to go into effect, but just, I would say, a huge impactful accomplishment when you're talking about underserved Black communities that normally don't have historical landmarks or things that we can really speak of that says, hey, this is for us, by us. You know what I mean? So it felt good to be a part of that, but it also, I think the thing that hit me as soon as it happened was there's so much work to get done. So steaming ahead next, I was right on the Preservation Society hip, asking them, hey, this is going to be official soon, so I'm going to be reaching out to you. So I was able to get one of their cards, reach out, and they've been so helpful as far as giving me grants, them being a resource themselves, saying any letters of support that we might need, we're able to attain. But also just working with the family, which is the Francis family. They're going to be opening up a foundation on behalf of Harlem Theater, because right now it's a for-profit, but I have a nonprofit, which is going to be working out of there. So I'll be doing a lot of I would say, grant writing with 2 other people, and one of the forces as far as helping getting that place renovated. So one of the big meetings we have coming up is with PNC Bank, and that's in June. Wow. And this relationship is one that got built off of my work that I do at the BSO. And so I was able kind of to, when we had a press conference to talk about our summer tour, which I hope to see some of y'all there, the week of July 3rd all the way through 8th, you'll see me doing several different concerts with the BSO. We'll save that for a later podcast, but I'm just saying I hope you all will be there because I'm doing some really cool fusion music with the
we will be
with the
there.
orchestra. So, but back to what I was speaking about, basically just trying to get partners in place that really have power, that really can get behind the project. So I'm really looking forward to building that partnership with them, building a better partnership with the city, because I believe the mayor knows, I'm not going to put a stamp, but I believe the mayor knows that outside of signing the bill, there's much more we still have to do. So when I look at this landmark, I say, okay, it wasn't in June, it wasn't on Juneteenth, but what a thing to celebrate on Juneteenth. So we're going to act like it did go down during that time. A great thing that I was just really pleased to be a part of, and this was another partnership that built off of just doing some of the work that I do with the BSO, is I connected with a great multi-instrumentalist named Andrew Lipsky when I did fusion concerts with a conductor named Steve Hackman. And he approached me about these inner city kids that every year they create an album from scratch, and it's a part of their grade, but also HBO shot a documentary on their program, because in their class they have 20 desks with an Apple monitor, keyboard, MPC beat machine, and Logic, which is recording software, mix and master software that costs thousands of dollars. I'll put it that way. And this is at a really tough school. Population, most of the kids, 90% of the kids are Black. The class I was teaching in, 100% Black. And so 3 studios built into this class, a drum kit, 3 bass guitars, 2 acoustic guitars, 1 big mixer board. All this at access for the kids, and professional musicians like myself, Andrew, a couple other musicians, and a couple students who have graduated the program. We all help kids who do have musical talent, and some that don't realize they have any, create a 10-track album. And what's beautiful is we helped them construct the theme, and this theme for this one was Summer of Soul. So if you've ever seen this concert on Hulu, you know what I'm talking about. But a lot of this theme has to do with talking about racial injustice and how we need to move society forward. And to have kids, I would say, work with kids to make music that they know, one, will be released on Juneteenth, but centers around the issues of why Juneteenth is important. So we're not just having kids make bubblegum songs and say, okay, great job. It's teaching them that when you sit down to create a song, you need to have a concept, a reason why you're creating this music, because your voice is going to speak for not just yourself, but maybe 1,000 people. And that's how you got to look at it, because you could be representing a lot of people, not just yourself. And there's a lot of power in that. So we try to teach the kids, besides the musicality side, that write with intention, make music with intention, And so having this experience, it was rough going up to Philly. I'm not going to lie, every Tuesday, because it's not a short trip, but man, it was fulfilling when I would get there. It was only 2 classes when I would go up there, but to see, one, the state of the school, which reminds me a lot of the public schools, unfortunately, out here in Baltimore City, it was beautiful to walk into this classroom where it's another world. I mean, literally, when you step into the classroom, they have it set up where one of the assistant teachers announces everybody when you come in. So, for example, when a kid comes in, they might be like, coming in the door, Rashid Smith, 3rd grade. And it was just so cool, And I would come in, they would be like, songwriter, performer, philanthropist, your teacher, wordsmith. And you coming in, all the kids clap for you. And that's how you open every class, is everybody gets an introduction, and they get to use to just, everything's a performance, and hey, it's okay to break out your shell, and it's okay to be funny and weird, and all these great things that make us human. And so to do 2, I would say, major things within the same time period that can be celebrated on Juneteenth, that's the way that I like my arts served on a plate. And that's my time.
Wow. That's a great story. That is really a great story. And Word, the thing that I also struck me when you were speaking about it too, is music is such a powerful thing, because it's so many sounds and so many instruments all coming together to create one sound. I mean, and that's certainly the metaphor for what we're all doing here, so
It's a language to itself.
it is.
Just my travels when I've been able to tour overseas, just they may not understand everything you're saying, but the emotion, the feel of your music, that's undeniable. I like to always tell people, well, think about reggae music. You definitely don't understand everything they say in reggae music, but you have a good time to it. It doesn't lessen the fun. You know what I mean? So you just know when something gives you a feel, and that's a good feel, a good positive feel. And that's the thing that music can do. You can hear something that sparks something in a person that can't speak your language, and they go, that tells me something about you just through your music. And that makes you interesting to me and vice versa. So it's truly a language, an unspoken language that we should be all grateful to have. Whether you're a professional or not, really doesn't matter. Use music any way you can, because you can use it as far as writing poetry or just writing your thoughts out in a journal. To me, that's still music.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, Wordsmith, I want to thank you for giving kids an opportunity for collaboration. And that's important too. Collaboration in a safe space. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Thank y'all. Thank you for giving me the space to talk about it.
Oh, please. Well, if you love Wordsmith, which we all do, you better get yourselves to Hunfest and see him up front, live, close, and personal, because he might have to run up to Philly again or whatever. So we had to grab hold of him and hold on tight. So, but honestly, in all sincerity too, Word, thank you so much for everything you do. And you are the kind of person that the more you do, the more you got to do, as you spoke about it earlier.
Hey.
So you ain't never going to wake up and say to yourself, I wonder what I should do today.
Yeah, but even with Hunfest, just, Judy and Bonnie, thank you, kindly for just being bold. I'm not saying I'm not a risk by no means, but just being bold. And seeing where Hunfest can go. I'm not going to say should go, but can go. And I tell you, with me, what's important to me is to do music that I know will fit the festivities. So I'm going to plan to do, 2 songs that I feel will fit what Hunfest is about in my own way. And that's what I'm excited about too.
Well,
I got him in a great spot. He's going to be there when they're deliberating who the Baltimore's best hunt is going to be.
You got primo spot, hon.
I appreciate that love. I do. I really do.
Well, that's what we're all about. So, okay. Well, now we have to hear from our darling Chris Reel and find out what he's been up to. We know he's been up to a lot, and I know he has been cheering on those O's, because every time I open Facebook, he's cheering and he's got his orange on and he's out and about. So he's going to surprise us with his story tonight. So let's hear what he has to say.
Thanks, Judy. Sorry I can't be there with you live this month, but I did want to share one of my favorite Baltimore stories in honor of Juneteenth, the date that we celebrate the emancipation of enslaved Americans after the American Civil War. Now, many of those formerly enslaved Americans migrated from the rural South to cities just like Baltimore. They were in search of new opportunities for themselves and for their families, and they needed a place to live. And in Baltimore, a man named Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey built several blocks of row houses in our city specifically to house those newly freed Americans. Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey himself had once been enslaved. He was born in Talbot County on Maryland's eastern shore, and when he was still a young boy, he was sent to Baltimore to work in the shipyards of Fells Point. It was while he was living in Baltimore that he learned how to read and write, which was against the law at the time. But the more Frederick learned, the more he read, the more he yearned for freedom. And as a young man, he decided he was going to be enslaved no longer. With the help of a free black woman named Anna Murray, he was able to procure forged freedom papers. He boarded a train in Baltimore and headed north. He traveled by train, by steamship, and by ferry until he eventually arrived in the so-called free states. But even though he had escaped the slave states, he was still being pursued by slave catchers. And so in order to elude those slave catchers, Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey changed his name to Frederick Douglass. And Frederick Douglass, of course, would go on to become one of the most significant and consequential figures in American history, speaking passionately against the evils of slavery from personal experience. He would go on to become an advisor to President Abraham Lincoln. And after the Civil War was over, after slavery had been abolished in the United States, Frederick Douglass came back to Baltimore, where it all began for him, and he bought land to build homes for newly freed Americans. Some of those homes still stand today on Dallas Street, just a few blocks away from the Fells Point waterfront. Those homes were originally known as Strawberry Alley because of the church where Douglass and other blacks had worshiped during the 19th century. Those homes still stand right across the street from the H&S Bakery, homes built by Frederick Douglass for newly freed Americans celebrating their emancipation. And they can be visited today on Dallas Street, just a few blocks away from Fells Point. Frederick Douglass would later say that going to live in Baltimore would be the source for all of his subsequent prosperity. You can also visit the Frederick Douglass Isaac Myers Maritime Park and Museum in Fells Point, maintained by the Living Classrooms Foundation. So happy Juneteenth. Judy, back to you.
Now, that camera, Desmond's, I don't think, does that camera ever go to bed at night? Do you even go to bed at night, Desmond? That would be question one. Number two, does the camera get a break? Because you have more events and you're always standing behind that camera at them. So tell us about some of the ones that you've covered and what you're looking forward to. And by the way, we loved your outfit at Flower Mart. Loved it.
Oh, cheers. Thank you so much. I loved your outfit, Judy. I love yours, Bonnie. I loved everyone's outfits out there too, because this was only the second time I've been to Flower Mart. And it felt like everyone was stepping up their game, right? Word, if you would have been there, you'd have been just taking notes, okay, this is what I got to do, plus another notch to be able to showcase up in Hunfest. But it was fantastic. So I've been going to a lot of things as per usual. Went to the Reptile Con and the Maryland State Fairgrounds, which is great. Ended up catching up with some friends of mine there. Some of whom gave me a gift of rubber duckies to match this yellow blazer that they had first seen me in and stuff. Got to play with a lot of huge freaking snakes and to see some hedgehogs for some reason. But yeah, Repticon is full of all kinds of fabulous people and fantastic beasts, to say the least. I want to kind of follow up on a couple themes that y'all have been touching on for great places to visit, to learn, and to take pictures of that are fabulous for Juneteenth, for Hunfest, and for any aspiring Huns, and also for Pride. So for Juneteenth, recommend a couple things to follow up with what Ward was talking about in terms of music being a language and music influencing culture, and to what all y'all were talking through. I would strongly recommend you check out the Culture, Hip Hop, and Contemporary Art of the 21st Century exhibit over at the Baltimore Museum of Art. It is a wonderful exhibit. There's a lot of fantastic artifacts in there, very interesting art, and all of it is current with a tie back to the past. I even have some wigs from various rap artists, as well as some outfits that folks did in collaboration with high fashion stuff. So it's kind of like mixing the street with haute couture. I will tell a small personal story too. So they play in a very, very, very good playlist of a bunch of different rap in various styles, as well as some spoken word stuff in there. And some of the songs they use are ones that I grew up listening to, right, as a youth and or adult, and some very specific ones made me stop in my tracks in the middle of walking through the first time I went there, because there were songs that myself and my brother connected with very strongly, right? So it was just taking me right back to hanging out in his room, right, or him hanging out with me, right, or just kind of being out and about, and those memories are ones that this came flooding back, and I and the music did all that for me. It was fantastic.
Speaking of music.
Yeah, exactly. I also want to highlight a couple of different things too to take pictures of too. the remnants of the racist Civil War museums that were all throughout Baltimore. Those are fantastic to visit. Very powerful and moving to see these empty plinths that are left over after all of them were taken down in the last 3 years. Right, some of them have been converted and renamed into kind of parks and plazas, like the Harriet Tubman themed one, not far from the BMA. Right, like
Mhm.
where I usually park for the BMA, I walk past it all the time, and they're kind of used as kind of focal points for other bits of civil rights and activism too. So they take on a new life today, which is always fascinating to see how people have kind of reclaimed these horrible stains on our history uh, that that were kind of meant to suppress and oppress, and people are kind of taking those into their own hands and using that to uplift, which is fantastic to see. Speaking of some uplifting things, I would recommend checking out the Reginald F. Lewis African American History Museum in the city. They have their main exhibit right now is on Afrofuturism, right? So kind of taking Black
Oh,
folks, Black
great.
culture. Yeah, it's super slick. Lots of different photo opportunities in there. Lots of things to do and to learn. I believe they're going to be having some sessions and some talks in and around Juneteenth as well. The National Great Blacks and Wax Museum, which is a thing I grew up going to a lot as a kid. We used to go to field trips there, and me and my family used to go there for to visit and to kind of reconnect with history. Both my parents were activists in various ways, right? And so this was kind of a way to kind of connect with different parts of Black history that aren't really taught in schools all that much, and to make them a bit more real with interesting, kind of funky, to be quite honest, wax statues of famous Black folks throughout history and
I'll
stuff.
have to get there.
Yeah, it's worth a visit. The folks who run it are awesome. They're fantastic. It's small but very very mighty. I wanted to also speak to Hunfest. I don't know if we've mentioned it maybe once or twice in this episode of the podcast, but Hunfest is happening in June 10th and 11th. You
You're cute.
maybe want to go there. If you're looking for people, places, things to photograph, you have them in spades, right? I would recommend bringing a couple of extra memory cards because you gonna burn through them really, really quickly. Join in the roving conga lines, right? The Huns and the people who are inspired by the Huns are out in force, and the colors are just off the chain. To say nothing of the fantastic artists and vendors and musicians that are there on multiple stages throughout the days too. I would also highlight another place that's great to eat at and is a bit of a Baltimore legend as well. The Paper Moon Diner, even though it's not Hun centric, it's got that quirkiness, that kind of like DIY artistic, self built flavor and vibe, right? These really cool, colorful mannequins out front of it, right? Various colorful cows, doll heads on attached to various poles and stuff, and even inside, it's a riot to say the very least, right? And on top of that, the food is quite good, so it's worth a visit to both eat at and to take pictures of, and to maybe even have a little photo session outside of it yourself. It's a fantastic place, and everyone who works there is awesome. For Pride, real quick, there's a couple of major Pride things happening in Baltimore. There's actually a lot of Pride related activities kind of around these events, plus a whole bunch more that we could spend the rest of the podcast talking about.
Of
So,
course.
oh, most definitely, of course. So Baltimore Pride is happening. It's a full week from the 17th to the 25th of a variety of things and a ton of different locations, right? To include like the B&O Railroad Museum is having a Pride related event too, which is pretty slick. It culminates mostly in two of the biggest parts of Pride Week, which is on the 24th, the Baltimore Pride Parade, which is one of the biggest in this part of the East Coast too. And honestly, having seen DC's, I prefer Baltimore's. Honestly, it is huge, swirling, full of love, full of joy. Everyone on the sidelines is into it. Everyone in the parade is into it. I even heard a rumor that there may be some Huns potentially driving inside the parade too, which is going to be super kick butt.
And some BeMore good news people.
Oh yes,
Hello.
indeed. So yeah, if you want to see some of it in person, what is it? I almost guarantee you will be either in the parade or on the sidelines taking pictures and cheering folks on left and right. There's also the Pride in the Park thing that happens the day after on the 25th. It's a bit more of a low key festival of vendors and kind of community spaces and performers in Druid Hill Park. It's super useful for just kind of going to parking, vibing with people and friends and making new ones, and just kind of connecting with folks. It's fantastic. There's also an official Pride crawl at Power Plant Live. So if you want to get turned during Pride, this is one way to do it. It happens on the same day as or same weekend as Hunfest. So you may have to try to like prioritize how your time is spent a bit. But there's a bunch of different bars that you can kind of hop to, all kind of serving different themed drinks, and with a huge queer community all kind of connected all around there too. So yeah, those are some of the events coming up.
Yay. I
Hope
know
to
that
see
you're
you
going
in
to be
any
at
hall.
all of them too.
Yes,
So
indeed. I'll be at
expect
a
to
lot.
see pictures. So again, I don't think you or your camera sleep, but
Oh no.
hey,
Yeah,
you can sleep when you're dead. So,
exactly.
anyway.
That's exactly what I say, Judy, right? Like I almost sleep with my camera, and both of us are pretty much always on all the time.
Yep, that describes it perfectly.
For
And
sure.
so, to the credit, when you did mention about the stage, let me do a little shout out to Miss Bonnie, our calendar girl, who I want to make sure everybody knows she spends from January on booking the stage. And she has done an amazing job. When you see the variety of performers, and it is just going to be something. So, Miss Bond, thank you so much. You're our unsung hero, hun, or whatever you want to say. And so now tell us a little bit about what else is going on, just in case we haven't. I knew you were going to put a prop on so you could do it right. So tell us what we can expect in June that we haven't already heard.
Well, Desmond did this one and this one and this one and these. So you saved me some time, hon. Get my gay pride boa on. I'm all set. Okay. You know what we're going to have in Baltimore besides beer and more beer? We're having wine. We're having the Wine Village, and that opened May 11th through the 29th. And it's at West Shore Park. Judy, I think that's where Rash Field is, around that way. And remember that place they were going to open up? Desmond, do you know about that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's in the same place that the German Christmas market is. Okay. It's in that part of the Inner Harbor.
Okay.
I was supposed to go to the soft launch of that.
From Key Highway, you access it that side?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yep. That's what I wanted to make sure.
Right around
okay,
that side.
So you go over there, and it's May 11th through 29th. They're having live music and wine from all over the world. It's a lot of German wine, because the German Christmas market is part sponsor of this, but also Waterfront Partnership, Visit Maryland, Visit Baltimore, and the Downtown Partnership. So everybody collaborated, and it's supposed to be really big and lots of fun, lots of wine, live music, and they're having a high wire act. At one time, they have a schedule, and you can go online. It's on our Facebook page, and enjoy that. And then on Thursday night, they're having a special wine speed dating. So who knows what could happen there,
Okay.
And then on Saturday, May 27th at Riverside Park, our wonderful Uncustomary England, that's Mary, who we spoke about and saw her video. She is a professional merriment maker, and you can follow her on Facebook also, Uncustomary England. Now, she's having the 7th annual Bubble Parade at Riverside Park, and they have a DJ, and the Bubble Beats are going to be there, and Miss Twist food truck, that's an ice cream truck, and a costume contest, a photo booth, and a raffle and gifts. And they're having a parade, the actual Bubble Parade, at 12:30 at Riverside Park. And then we have the Sowebo Arts Festival, the 40th Art Festival. I didn't know it was that old. It's arts and music, Sunday, May 28th. It's always Memorial Weekend every year. Mm-hmm. And they're having 3 music stages, music the whole time, and 3 or 4 blocks of food, crafts, and art. And they have a lot of art galleries there too. So that's a good time to check out what they have there. And they have a kids alley where they stick all the kids with babysitters, and they give them chalk and paint and all kinds of interactive things to make their own art. And WTMD is starting their first Thursdays, and that's right near my house. And I love to go there. It's at Canton Waterfront Park. They're having Whiskey Feathers, which is a local band, and Joe P., who's from Asbury Park, New Jersey. I think Bruce Springsteen came from there. And then Hutchinson, and he does rock, soul, and funk. And it's free. It's an outdoor concert. It's on the water. It's gorgeous. Some people even come by boat, and they stop and listen to the music, and maybe they'll let you on their boat if you're nice to them. And it's just a lot of fun. It's a beautiful, beautiful concert venue.
Mm-hmm.
And the Baltimore's Makers Village will be there. I think you can see them around town. They have, I know, at that new place, Needs in Harbor East, where H&S Bakery has a brand new bakery there. And they sometimes they'll have the artisans there when you walk in. And it's everything that's handcrafted and made by Baltimore artisans. So they'll be there at Canton Waterfront Park too. And Saturday, June 3rd at 8 a.m. is Blockenstein. It's supposed to be the biggest block party flea market around. And that's on Bank Street and Patterson Park Avenue in East Baltimore. And there's a vintage market at Union Craft Brewery. That's in Hamden. And it's from 11 to 3 on Sunday, June 4th. And that, I went last year by, I just kind of wandered in. I didn't know what was going on. It's a huge, huge parking lot. And they've got people that are vendors from all over the country. And they come, it's a big, like East Coast, Mid-Atlantic, vintage clothing and furniture and art. And it's amazing because the people that come there, I don't know where they came from, but you feel like you're in Greenpoint, Brooklyn or something. You feel really, really hip. It's a real hip thing to do. And I just love watching the people. I think I bought one thing, but I just sat there and just watched all these gorgeous people with crazy cowboy boots and all kinds of handmade vintage, like recycled outfits. It was just wonderful. And they had all the old vintage dishes and some modern, like vintage modern art, like from the mid-century kind of. It looked modern to me, but it was all mid-century, and I should have known that it was, but I didn't. But I got an education there because I learned a lot about mid-century art. And WYPR and WTMD are having their 20th anniversary bash at the B&O Railroad Museum. And that's Saturday, June the 10th at 6. They're having speakers and live music, and they're going to have moving trains with live music. So you can watch the trains, get on the trains, and listen to the music. And Dan Deacon will be there and pressing strings, and Fluid Movement is going to dance for them. And Easy Jackson, the rapper, is going to be there. And now we come to Baltimore with Love, Saturday, June 10th, the hall at Live Casino, the Associated Black Charities Black Arts District, the only one in Maryland, and it was established in 2019. We had to wait all that time. They're honoring Lady Breon, who's the executive director of the Baltimore Arts District. And you keep an eye on that because a lot is happening. There's a lot of money coming through there and a lot of attention coming through there. And we're going to revive Pennsylvania Avenue and make it great again. That's the land of Cab Calloway.
Yeah,
I always love hearing stories about that.
We heard one from Chris on this very show.
Right. And the Boundary Block Party is going to be at the 16th annual on June 10th, and it's sponsored by No Boundaries Coalition and Jubilee Arts. Now you can go there for free food, live music, community resources, and family fun and hip hop. Thursday, June 15th, BeMore Flea Night Market. 4 to 9 p.m. Crafters and vintage dealers at the Central Plaza at Harbor Point. Tasty drinks and free music. Now, Juneteenth, we came to that now. All that stuff was already, you did it, Desmond. You did a great job. Let me just found one more thing that you did not mention. So you must have forgot something. It was the Juneteenth Film Festival. And it's on the 19th, noon to 8 p.m. at the Lyric. Did you know about that one, hon?
Nope,
Okay.
That's news to me. That's news to me.
I got
you. Got him. All right.
And there's an art exhibit also at the Max Gallery on Friday, June 23rd, 5:30 to 7:30. And I just want to remind you that Baltimore is a great place to hear jazz. Look up the Baltimore Jazz Alliance on Facebook. And the venues are the Bluebird, Our House, Tagliata, Keystone Corner, Cindy Lou's Fish House, and the Elk Room. And if you want to dance, you got the Mobtown Ballroom Monday nights. They have jazz, Lindy Hop, and swing dancing and tasty cocktails that are really cheap, too. They're like $5. And they have a DJ, and then they have a beginner lesson at 8 o'clock. And the dance starts at 9, and it goes until everybody goes home. I think that's enough today. You look at our Facebook page and you do some of this stuff, because you can't sit on the couch forever, you know.
I just couldn't bring you any more good news if I tried. Thank you, Wordsmith. Oh my gosh, we can't wait to see you for your debut at Hunfest, and we know you're going to look fabulous, darling. Desmond, I'll be looking at you somewhere behind the camera. And Young, I know I'll be seeing a flash of pink go by as you fly down the street to take somebody's picture or interview them. And of course, Miss Bonnie, I'll be joining you on the stage.
Here's my shirt.
There it is. What does it say, hon?
Can't you read it? It
Not
says
completely
Hunfest, Palmer's best time.
Okay, well, there it is. And
Be hot.
so get that hot pink, leopard, rainbows, hearts, flowers, Oriole shirts, Old Bay, Natty Bow, and anything else you can find. Celebrate, because we live in the best city in the whole land. I will see you out and about in summer in the city. This is BeMore Good News. And until next time, be more kind, be more love, be more good news.
Way down on the shores of the Patapsco lies a singing and swinging his town, I know. So have another beer, sit down, I'll tell you more. Folks work real hard, but they're doing it right, 'cause when the sun goes down, they're gonna party all night. I'm talking about